I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top. Keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. The good life. Good life. Oh, good life. Good life. Good life. Good life.
Dude, I was talking to Bernsey and he was telling me a story that you had mentioned about there was a time where I think you were struggling going the other way and Bonds was struggling pulling the ball, or you guys had got vice versa. Okay, vice versa. Yeah, tell me that story.
Okay, so now, this is 93, all right? So, I got 8 years in the big leagues. Barry's got 7. He's got 3 MVPs, whatever. He's working on his 4th. And, I was having problems pulling the ball down the right field line. I was hooking them foul. And Barry was just hitting these god-awful freaking, straight 2-irons right down the right field line. And I'm like, all right, I got to figure out what he's doing. And then vice versa. I was swinging the bat well going the other way, and then he was having a little problems going the other way. So we got in the back of the plane coming back from somewhere, and I'm like, hey, B, we need to talk. And he's like, all right. And so we stood in the back of the plane the whole plane flight on with a few beers, and we talked strategy. How to pull your hands in, how to do this, how to do that. And so he said, look, Thrill, he goes, let's do this. He goes, let's go out to the ballpark tomorrow. He says, I'll meet you out early. I'm like, all right. So we got to the ballpark at 1 p.m. for a 7 o'clock game. We had, one of these big, huge baskets of baseballs and a tee. And he walked me through everything that he did on the ball in. And I started doing it in case for the rest of my career. You're talking about 8-9 years for the rest of my career. I probably pulled 10 balls foul down the right field line. Everything else I kept straight because of the lessons that he taught me, and vice versa. He wanted to know about how to go the other way and all that sort of stuff. And we talked the same exact strategy about keeping your hands inside the ball, but getting extended and going that way and all that. And then he started raking shit to left center, So it's 2 athletes kind of at the top of their career, but they're trying to make themselves better. They look in the mirror and they go, hey, look, I'm doing really well, but I can do better. And hey, look, this guy's the best in the sport. Let me go ask him. And that's how it worked out that way.
What did he tell you, Thrill, about that pulling that ball inside?
All right. So bottom hand for me would be my right hand. All you right-handers, it's the left hand. All right. So when you swing, let me see if I can get my camera out a little further.
Yeah.
So when you swing, you pull your hands inside the baseball, and notice my elbow's down. My elbow's not up. You pull your hands inside the baseball, and the barrel of the bat follows your hands. So what you do is you create a square piece of contact. Once your hands come through, then the barrel's coming through. The barrel is going to be absolutely perfectly straight to contact. Boom, like this. Instead of when I was coming through contact, because the barrel was getting out in front of my hands instead of behind my hands. So when I was in contact, I was making contact like this instead of being more square on.
Wow.
And that's how I was hooking them foul, and Barry helped me correct that.
Wow, that is awesome, dude.
Very awesome.
So from now on, and that's what I'm doing here. Like I said, in Richmond with these guys, these are the kind of little tips I'm telling them. Look, pull your hands inside the ball. If you pull your hands inside the ball, you're going to start hitting 2-irons, and you're not going to hook the ball and lose distance.
Where'd you keep your knuckles? Case, we talked about this the other day. Were you knuckles here, or did it matter to you? Does it matter to you?
I was more of a comfort guy. I wanted to be comfortable up there. And at the point, let me see if I can get out a little further. At the point of contact, I wanted like palm up and palm down, and so you're getting extended kind of this way instead of rolling your hands like that. And once you start rolling, as you well know, Case, when you hit a baseball, it gets past the infield and it goes. It's like tennis hitting a topspin. You lose you can catch the ball dead center, but you lose all your distance. And so for me, that's why the palm up, palm down, and getting through the baseball. How I did that, I just got my knuckles kind of comfortable. But if you see guys, and Case knows this, if you see guys that do the bat wrap, if they start wrapping their hands in there, you got to correct that immediately. Immediately.
Yep. Yeah, that's what get into big time trouble because you start losing the zone. You're in and out too fast, and there's probably one pitch you can hit is that ball that's at your chest.
Yep. Yep. So here's another one, a perfect example too. One of my best friends in baseball, and the reason being because we couldn't get his ass out, he was at first base all the time, was Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
And Tony, oh my God, if I could tell you how many times I watched him take early BP. And I just asked him question after question after question. And his big thing was, and this goes back to all of you idiots with the launch angle, all right, which are a bunch of morons. Okay? What you want to do is you want to stay flat through the zone. You want to go flat through the zone because I can hit the ball at point A, point B, point C, and just keep going, all right? If you are coming up at the ball, you have one point of contact, and it's either a swing and a miss, or it's a homer, or it's a pop-up, one or the other, or one of those three. But if I'm staying flat through the zone, I can hit the ball deep, middle, out in front, and I can still drive all three of those. And that's why you are not seeing as many 300 hitters in the big leagues now as when you and I, Case, when we played. When we played, we took pride in hitting 300. We took pride in battling these at-bats out, and these guys don't now.
What do you say to the guys that say, "Oh, hitting 300, that's not a big a deal. It's all about on base percentage."
That's bullshit.
Right.
On base percentage is a direct result of hitting well.
Right.
On base percentage is not a direct effect of taking a base on balls. If you're hitting well, all right, you're hitting 300, you're going to get pitched tougher. You're going to get more walks because you're getting pitched tougher. If you're just a guy that, I'm hitting 220, dude, they're going to challenge the hell out of you. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of homers because they're challenging the hell out of you because you're not that good of a hitter. If you're hitting 300, then you got to work your ass off to get your good base hits.
Yeah, and I'm saying too. Listen, if you're 300 hitters, they're hitting the 1 and 2 starters. They're hitting the closers at the end of the game. They're hitting in the postseason. How many times do you see a lineup nowadays thrill that has hey, listen, during the season, they do well because they're hitting the 4 and 5 starters, but come postseason time, there's so many strikeouts and they're 220, 230. Guess what? You're not hitting the best hitters in the game, your best pitchers in the game. You're hitting the mediocre ones. Your team's not winning in the postseason with those guys. I'm sorry.
You are so correct, Case. You are so correct. And on top of that, check this one out. You and I grew up in an era where it didn't matter who was on the mound. We're going to take our at bats. Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether it's left or right. My job is to go up there and hit. And so I'm going to go up there and hit. And believe it or not, you and I talked about this, a few years back, was I'd rather face a left-hander when I was going bad because my mechanic was better. I saw the ball longer, stuff like that. And so, to face a lefty, it was just as much of a challenge as facing a righty. Nowadays, you see all of these, platoon lineups and all that. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, this guy, he might not have great numbers, but guess what? He might have that day today. He might have that day today. Put him in a lineup,
Right. And how do you hit lefties? You got to play against them. If I come up as a minor leaguer and all of a sudden I have 2 bad games against a lefty and you make me a platoon player, well, how the hell am I going to hit lefties if I don't play against them and you make this story up that you got to platoon guys? I think that's such crap.
Yeah, and totally agree with you. Couldn't pat you on the back ever more for that statement right there.
Yeah.
You have to play against lefties and righties. Doesn't matter. Because for me personally, not only as an instructor, but now as an evaluator, I need to see what you can do from the left side and the right side.
Exactly. What was it like at Candlestick, dude? I look at your numbers, bro, and the case for your Hall of Fame numbers are incredible. And you know 137 OPS plus park adjusted. I played in Candlestick 1 year in '98, and I'm like, I remember the ball going up, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, thing was swelling everywhere. You know, even the infield wasn't that great. I'm like, how do people hit the ball out here? Can you talk about that, dude? Because I really believe your numbers, how incredible they were, Thrill. I honestly believe they would have been like exponentially better had Candlestick not been your home park.
Yeah, no, yeah, I gotta give you another props on that one. You know, Candlestick was one of those ballparks when, you know, you played there, you just kind of knew it. I mean, it's going to cost you some homers and some RBIs because there are certain days that you're going to go up to home plate and you're not going to be able to hit a cannon out of there. And then there's other days where it played fair. And so, I mean, it would literally be, you know, you catch one day and the right fielder comes running in on it. And the next day you catch the same exact ball and it's 40 runs deep. So the Candlestick was unbelievable. The wind and the elements that you had to play in, the fog, the misty rain, always 45 degrees. You know, so, I mean, you know, you had plenty of challenges. And like you said, you know, I mean, the infield wasn't that great. And then, you know, the 49ers started playing on it and it looked like a freaking infield out there. You had to watch your lips. You know, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many bad hops came up by the face and stuff like that. So, you know, it was an interesting place to play. It was a great place to play. And, you know, I told everybody, and especially, you know, when I did my retirement speech, I said, Candlestick made me a man. It made me the ball player that I am because you had to deal with so much that's going on around you and yet focus on the baseball.
Yeah. What was the thrill? What was that like for you, man? Getting your number retired last year. It was last year, right? 22 forever will be retired up in the rafters with McCovey, Willie Mays, some of the greats. You know, what was that like for you?
You know what? I told everybody in my speech, and I mean it till this day, that was my Hall of Fame. You know, to have your number retired by the organization that you spent the most time with, the organization that you work for, you know, the organization that you really respect, you know, that's the ultimate compliment. And, you know, to have your number retired and go up there on the board and just the way the numbers line up, you know, I mean, I'm right there next to number 24, Willie Mays, the greatest that's ever been, you know. It really is the ultimate compliment. And, you know, till this day, when I go back to the ballpark, I got to keep looking up, make sure that the line hasn't fallen down or something.
Was it hard to write the speech? Were you scared to write the speech? You had to write a speech too, Case, for when you got into the whole thing. Were you terrified, or you were excited to talk about all the people that helped you out along the way?
You know, I was excited. I was excited. The Giants actually told me about it in 2019, and we were going to do it in 2020. Needless to say, COVID hit. And I literally had the speech written in 2 or 3 days. I mean, because I do a lot of public speaking. And so, you know, I'm pretty well organized as far as that goes. And I knew that I didn't want to make it about me. Everybody knows why we're here. We're here because, you know, of the stuff that went on the field. But I didn't want to make it about me. I wanted to make it about, hey, look, you don't get a chance to thank the organization, your family, your teammates. You don't get a chance to thank them. Now I have a stage right now where I can thank them, you know, and at the end of the speech, then I said, hey, look, all right, I am Will the Thrill Clark, and I am part of San Francisco, you know, and I am forever a Giant. And then the place freaking
went crazy.
It went crazy. And so my daughter had not been born, you know, when I was playing. My son saw me play a little bit. My daughter had not seen me play. And, you know, I told her to, you know, kind of pay attention, you know, because something like this is like really awe-inspiring. And when she was on the field after that, you know, she was in tears and she was like, Daddy, I did not know. And I was like, yeah, baby. I said, that is Will the Thrill right there, baby.
Yeah, you don't just get the nickname Thrill if you're freaking hitting bloopers out there. You get the nickname Thrill if you're bringing the crowd to their feet every night.
Yeah, and you don't have 40,000 in the stands with your jersey on at the same time. You know? Yeah.
Oh, God, dude, that's so incredible. Let's go.
Cool. I'm sorry you couldn't be there, man, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
Dude, I was so excited for you, bro. I sent you that text the day before just to say, just to say, like I said when I started this, thank you for all you did. Like, I'm so excited that your number was getting retired, and it was such a big thing. You know, I want to kind of stay there with your family a little bit because, you know, a lot of people would say, hey, man, if Will Clark had played 4 or 5 more years, bam, book it, slam dunk, Cooperstown. We're not even having a talk. Doesn't have to go to the Veterans Committee, not even close. But there was, a big reason that you retired was your son, Trey, at the time. Can you talk about that a little bit? Do you have any regrets about that and that decision that you made, walking away, hitting 330 your last year?
Yeah, no. I wish I hit 330. I hit 350.
350.
I was loving life. Hey, look, the one thing is, our son is a little autistic. He's doing great now. Doing wonderful. Matter of fact, believe it or not, he's here with me in Richmond, and he's going to be our bat boy tonight too. So
that's great.
But I had accomplished so much on the baseball field. And then, at a certain point in time, you have to be home. You have to be hubby. You have to be father. And, he needed me at home. We had seen a lot of improvement in him the year before during the off season. And so, it was in the back of my brain that I was going to retire. And, I started out with the Orioles that year. I was doing well. The team was doing kind of crappy. And I told my wife, I said, this is it. I kind of the writing's on the wall, and then I got traded to St. Louis, and it was like balls to the wall. It was like back in hog heaven. I moved back into the 4th slot in the lineup, was able to do a little damage in there. But then I told my wife, I said, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on top of the mountain. I'm not going to go out trying to get to the top again. And so, I decided to retire, and I looked around. The Cardinals wanted me back, but McGuire was coming back after surgery, and so they said I'd have to be an outfielder or a utility guy, and that was the old dog new tricks thing.
Yeah.
And the other teams that were out there free agent wise were Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. And so I said, you know what? I'm going home. I'm going to be daddy and hubby. And looking back on it, it's the best decision I ever did because my son's doing great right now.
That's so great, man. So great. Yeah, you're right. Family first. At the end of the day, it's nice to be.
You're right. You're right. I could have been there, 2, 3, 4 more years. I'd have been over. I'd have been over 300. I'd have probably been close to 1,500 RBIs. Still going to be hitting 3 bills, but that wasn't my focus. My focus was on my family.
That's why who you are, man. That says so much right there, man. Incredible. Last night, I don't know if you saw Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge last night was hitting, and he had 2 home runs against the Blue Jays, and he peaked. He peeked back twice, and the camera caught him. Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. And yeah. Can you see Chinch's when he watch this right here? Can you see him look? He's gonna look back. Right there. You see him? See him look? Oh yeah, bro. And the next pitch thrill. He hit one so freaking far. Dude, it was a blast dead center. And they were talking about it on air. They're like, oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? Next pitch, boom, crushes it. And so it was kind of the big story. Dude, you have a great story back with Gary Carter. Oh, yeah. I believe the story is. Can you tell us that about the peeking stuff?
I'm glad you brought that up, Case. That's awesome. So Gary Carter, when you get up to home plate, he'd love to talk because he tried to distract you all the time, right? And we're in Montreal, and he's just, yickety yakking back there. And I said, Gary, give me a break. I said, take it easy, calm down. It's at bat. I said, I don't need to listen to it. And he just one of them numbers. He just kept it up, right? So Dennis Martinez is on the mound. So I'm up there, and sure enough, I get up there, and I like kind of peek down in between my arms, and Gary didn't see it, but Martinez saw it. He goes, hey, he's peeking. And Gary looks up at me. He goes, are you looking down at the signs? And I go, yeah. He goes, why are you doing that? I said, because I told you to shut up. And I said, you're still steadily talking. He goes, well, we're going to drill you. And I go, yeah. And I said, when you come up, we're going to drill you. He goes, but I didn't do anything. I said, you haven't shut up yet. So next pitch, I knew it's coming, so I just turned, wham. Dennis drills me. I go down to first base, no problem. Here comes Carter up next time up, wham. We drill him. He comes down to first base. I said, okay, is it over or we need to keep going? He goes, no, it's over, Thrill. It's over. I'll be quiet. I'm like, all right.
That's great.
That's so great. That's so great. The greatest part is that he got a chance to come down to first, and you had that conversation. Hey, is it over?
Exactly. And then later in his career, Carter and I become teammates, and we laughed and giggled. Like we said, we had beers about it and all that sort of stuff. And he told me at that time, he said, I really respected you for that. He said, because you knew it was coming, you took it, and you went to first. And I was like, yeah, that's part of the game,
Oh, that's so great. That's so great, man. I love that. It was part of the game, now it's made.
Now, and you well know, I mean, you guys know Judge just peeked down. All right. It's legitimate. He looked down. All right. How do you go about policing that? Can we hit him now or what?
Right. Right. So, that's how you police it, right? I mean, he's going to have to wear one. Yeah.
Now you can't retaliate no more. You retaliate, boom, you're going out the game.
Well,
there'll be warnings. Yeah.
On that, what about?
And on top of that, it's kind of. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like, the quarterback with the red jersey. Okay, you can't touch the quarterback. It's like, oh, you can't touch the big stars. No, back in the day, you could touch anybody you wanted to.
Right.
You got drilled.
So where's your take on like the bat flips? And Bryce Harper got into it with the pitcher who was clapping the other day.
Oh my God!
What do you got?
That the bat flips, and then we had one earlier in the year, and Case knows because Eric Burns and I were on No Filter, just pounding this guy. The guy Jazz Chisholm from hit a 3-run homer against us late in the game, and he did a 32-second home run trot where he's blowing kisses and he's shooting 3-pointers and he's doing head fakes and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh my God. I said, back in the day, we'd have had him drilled. That's first off. He's been drilled. Then he's going to come down to first base, and I'm going to call at least 3 pickoff throws in a row, and I'm going to catch the ball, and I'm going to whack him upside the head one time. I'm going to whack him in his elbow one time, and I'm going to say, hey, you got the message yet?
That's awesome.
I know. Those
so that's my take on the home run.
I love it.
The good old days. Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. Hey, Thrill, we do a thing.
Hey, look, and you brought it up earlier. You even brought it up earlier. Look at I mean, there was some walk-offs where you stood and watched them. But when we hit them, we ran. Watch Matt Williams' home run trot.
Oh,
whack,
he sprinted.
He sprinted around the bases.
Yeah.
He tried not to show anybody up.
I was big on that too. Because of Matt Williams watching it, I was like, as soon as I homered it, I knew I got you. I still would sprint around the bases. Just,
look, that's the great part about you. You get it. All right, look, I was up at plate to do a job. I did my job. Right. All right, I'm not going to show anybody up. Let's get the next guy up to home plate.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the truth. Dude, we play a game on the mayor's office called Who Owned You and Who Did You Own? Who owned you? Who owned Will Clark and who did Will Clark own?
All right, we got that. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So ownership is, oh God, he and I were teammates, and I don't know why I just had problems getting hits off of him, was Terry Mulholland. When he went with the
Mulholland, yes.
Really?
Oh, it was like a 1 for 24 or something like that, and it was kind of pretty ugly.
39.
Might have been, I don't know.
39 bats,
but it was pretty ugly. And let's see, the other way around. There was one or two guys. One of them, Kevin Millwood from the Atlanta Braves. At one point, I was like, I don't know, 8 for 10 with like 4 homers, and then I added 2 more homers off of it. Millwood didn't like.
Oh my God! And, 5 for 8 with 4 home runs.
The other guy too, believe it or not, is the quarterback's dad, Mahomes.
Oh yeah.
His dad, Pat. I beat on him pretty good too.
So Pat Mahomes and Kevin Millwood. Hey, dude, also Nolan Ryan. I mean, I know 333 with 6 bombs off Nolan Ryan. That ain't too shabby.
Yeah, no, I'm the active career leader in homers off of Nolan. And you know, I go over to Texas in 94. Nolan had blown out his arm in 93. So they signed him to a 10-year personal services contract. And, you know, so in 94, you know, Nolan would come in the clubhouse every now and then, go talk to some of the guys and, hey, how you doing and all that. And he'd walk right by me. And so all my teammates were like, hey, dude, what's up with you and Nolan? I go, hey, it's a hitter-pitcher thing. Don't worry about it.
There's a great You and Oral Hershiser in his prime had a very interesting. You hit 324 off him, Casey. 24 for 74, but he struck you out more than any other guy 18 times. Yeah. So it's like you guys.
Yeah, all right. So perfect example. Perfect example. Great analogy right there. So Case and I, all right, we're first basemen. Who comes down to first base? Every freaking hitter in the league, right? So I am really scuffling against Hershiser. My first few years, I don't even know if I got a hit off of him, and I struck out a boatload. I mean, a boatload off of him. And this is before he blew out his shoulder. He had a freaking turbo sinker at about 93, over the top curveball and a changeup. And I wasn't on the same page with him. And so one day I get Keith Hernandez down to first base, and I noticed that he had freaking worn out Hershiser the week before. And so I got down to first base and I said, hey, Keith, you know, how you hit Hershiser? He goes, Will, he goes, man, that turbo sinker's just biting. He says, and I just keep beating it in the dirt. He said, so I said, hell with it. And I start swinging at the curveball. He said, and I start whacking the curveball. I'm like, oh, that made all the sense in the world, because that was kind of what I was doing. If I did hit the ball off of him, you know, I'd beat it in the dirt. So I started looking breaking ball. And Podney was like, game on after that. Like, wow. Like,
oh, my God. But was your approach mostly hunt the fastball, though, unless it was somebody that was devastating?
No, I was a look for pitches guy. I did a lot of work in the video room. I spent at least an hour in the video room every day trying to figure out patterns on guys. And I would hunt pitches and locations. So especially with runners in scoring position, I wanted to know where he was going and what pitches he was going to. So let's say if you get a guy, I'll give you a guy like, oh shoot, I'm not just a guy who throws a good slider. Okay,
right.
If he's throwing a 1-0 slider or a 2-1 slider, you know, to a lot of guys in the lineup, I'm sitting slider the whole at bat till I get 2 strikes, and especially sitting slider if there's runners in scoring position, because I know he's not going to throw the slider in because he doesn't want to make mistakes, so it's going to be away. So I'm sitting slider away, and that's the kind of temperament that I had in order to get a lot of RBIs.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I get that. I get asked this.
In case you know it too, because you talk to Burnsy a lot. Burnsy talks about just hunting the fastball. Well, dude, there's a lot of times you can't hunt the fastball. You're not going to see one. And if you do see one, it's not going to be for a strike. So you have to be able to handle, and especially a guy like you who was in the middle of the lineup. I mean, you know, you're an RBI guy too. You're going to get pitched toughest in the lineup, and you're going to get a lot more off-speed stuff. So you got to get proficient at handling that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Because you're gonna see, you know, 50% of the time, or maybe a little less, you're gonna see that something spinning, something, you know, a changeup or whatever. Here's another thing. Pay attention to the guys on the mound right now. Pay attention to the modern guys. Yeah, they throwing the shit out of it. Yeah, they throw a 96 and 97, whatever they're supposedly throwing. But when they need to throw a strike, they throw a breaking ball. They're spinning it. Exactly.
Instead of looking 96, 97, how about looking 85 breaking ball and whacking that son of a gun?
Yeah, you're right, man, because they're spinning it more. I was like, velo. Guys are throwing breaking ball stuff more now than they ever did. So if you're saying, these guys are throwing harder, but they're throwing, I think, fastballs less than ever in the game today.
Hey, look, you know, I have arguments with some of our guys. You know, I'm like, you know, why are we throwing so many breaking balls, but yet we're calling fastball up? You know, You want the breaking ball to be down, but you want the fastball to be up. So now you're teaching guys to get the ball down with the breaking stuff, but the fastballs they want up. So now when they make a mistake with the fastball, it's down. It's not up because you teach everything else down. If you make a mistake, down out over the plate, those balls get P-laid. And that's what you're seeing in the major leagues right now.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's so good. Such good stuff. Hey, people ask me all the time, brother, best conversation at first base. Can you give us one or two conversations that you had that you're like, man?
Yes, I can. I got one for you. Yeah. All right. So my man, I love him to death, Ricky Henderson. Ricky gets down to first base. All right. And we played the Oakland A's a bunch in spring training, and we're in spring training in Oakland. Ricky does his thing, gets down to first base, and Tony La Russa puts the hold sign on. He wants Canseco and McGuire to swing the bat. And you can just see Ricky's getting pissed down there. And by the way, Ricky talked in the third person. He goes, Thrill, Ricky here? I go, yeah, I know, Rick. You're standing next to me. You know. So anyway, you fast forward a few more pitches, and Ricky's standing there, and he goes, Thrill, Ricky getting pissed. Ricky want to run. You know, and I'm like, go ahead and run, Rick. So he waits another pitch or so, and he comes back and goes, Thrill, hell with this, Ricky gone. I'm like, all right. So I looked in the dugout, and I said, he's running. And then, so sure enough, Ricky takes off. We pitch out, bad throw. Ricky slides in safe. You know, he gets up, and he turns around, and he's squatting, he's pointing at me. He's going, I told you, Thrill. Ricky gone. Ricky gone.
That's so great. That's
my Ricky Henderson story. That's just some of the silly crap that goes on at first base.
That's so great, dude. I told you, Thrill, Ricky gone. So Jason LaRue said Ricky would come to the plate, and Jason LaRue was our catcher back with the Reds. He said he'd swing and miss the pitch. He said, well, come on, Ricky, don't swing at that pitch. He
talked third person. He'd be down at first base talking third person. I'm like, Rick, who are you talking to? You know, he goes, oh, it's real. Ricky talking to Ricky.
Oh my gosh, dude. Incredible. Thrill, man. It has been an absolute honor, brother, to come on with Chinch and I, man. We're so grateful. And, you and Burnsy are still doing your thing. Everybody who's listening for us, check out Thrill and Eric Burns Tuesday nights on Deuces Wild on No Filter. What an incredible show you guys have been doing. And, dude, I'm glad you're doing your thing out there, with the Squirrels and with the Giants. And love you tons, man. I'm so grateful for the influence you've had on me and a generation, brother, of players that played this game because of the way you played it, and looking forward to seeing you here soon, man.
Right back at you, Case, man. I really appreciate you having me on the show. You did a great job as usual, man. You're the best. That's why they call you the mayor. And, man, I love you to death. I love you as a ball player. I love you as a friend. And if you ever need me on the show, give me a holler.
We will, dude. Thanks so much, Thrill. Good luck, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bro.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
Thanks, man.